Screen Team Media.
The story's about a man who is living the life of his father and meets a woman who awakens his passions, his true passions, and kind of just awakens his soul, if you will. And he starts to crave and be excited about other things, you know, not just business, not just getting ahead, not just aspiring. He actually wants to live. And that's what this story's about. Tyler's character, Wesley Deeds, is about to get married to his best friend, but it's not the love of his life. And so we take that journey with him, the discovery that, you know, your best friend and the love of your life, your true love, aren't always synonymous. And, you know, having to make that hard choice to go find true happiness as opposed to what everybody else calls happiness. In this, Walt is there's been some trauma in the Deeds boys' lives, and in my research, there's two ways you can respond to trauma as a child. You can become an overachiever, Wesley Deeds, or you can self-destruct, Walt Deeds, my character. And so we're exploring the downward turns, you know, of a guy that's not necessarily aware of what's wrong with him, but he's self-destructing at every turn. And I have the benefit of having Tyler to talk through each of the beats. He knows exactly what he wants. He knows why it's there. You know, every word, every line comes from within organically. So it's a lot of conversation, a lot of dialogue, a lot of questions, so that I can then fill in the blanks and do my job. The structure of this story is almost two brothers living each other's lives. And, you know, the way it was written, Wesley he'd rather be at the countryside, you know, with his shoes off, running through the grass, riding bikes, swimming in holes, you know, building, you know, villages in remote locations, helping people, you know, out on the road, rolling up his sleeves with no money. And that's who he is at his core. And then you have Walt, who, since the day he was born, wanted to be just like Dad. That's all he ever wanted to be. He wanted to be a businessman. He wanted to be a tycoon. He wanted to wear these vintage Rat Pack suits. He doesn't want to be nouveau riche. He wants to be old school. We actually had a nice conversation, Tyler and I, and let her in on some of this stuff, the backstory that we had done, the work that we had done, and it instantly changed her perspective. We were sitting in the makeup trailer, and she's like, no, I don't think that's right. And then we talked about it some more, and she was like, wow. And all of a sudden, her whole presentation got darker because of the backstory. You know, once she saw where her kids went, she started going, well, how did my kids get there, and how do we need to make sure and tell this story? And for me, it was probably the single most powerful day of work, or my moment ever on set, because I'm such a huge fan of Phylicia Rashad. I've seen everything she's done. I mean, working with Tyler it's a whirlwind. It's inspirational because of how much he's able to do without sacrificing quality or focus. I mean, each time I work with him, he's just better and better and better at his craft. And, you know, it's inspiring to see somebody that's at the top from a business and commercial success standpoint be such a student of the craft from an artistic standpoint. And that's what keeps me coming back, because he's the consummate professional. I mean, we're shooting this movie in 20 days. I think we did I Can Do Bad in like 21 days. Daddy's Little Girl, something similar. And, you know, yet all of the same conversations and dialogue and give and take and prep work that I do on any other film or show is still there. And it's amazing. It's inspiring me to reach higher. It definitely raises the bar. I mean, he sets the standard. He sets the tone. He's even had Susan Batson in here, you know, giving him the business about his work, you know. So he's got eyes on himself. So he's pushing on all frontiers. He's definitely pushing us. He's pushing himself. This is a different kind of story than I've seen from him before. I mean, we've seen For Colored Girls. We've seen I Can Do Bad. You know, there's no music in this one. This is all story, all, you know, the 7 characters and the story that he told. And I think this is a powerful, powerful story that everybody can relate to. I grew up on The Cosby Show. And since The Cosby Show went off the air, I haven't seen images of aspirational, upper middle class black families or even affluent black families at all without them being poked fun at or a little bit being erudite. I've never seen anybody that felt like my family or felt like the people that I saw when I was at college or when I was on Wall Street. And Tyler paints and creates these types of families but keeps them relatable because they're flawed. They're real. You know, they're not perfect. It's not the fairy tale. It's what we go out into America can see in our communities. And, you know, the dysfunction that is dealt with through communication, you know, on screen, sets the table for dialogue in the audience.